The radical power of softness, redefining strength in a world built for survival. I used to think armor was the only way to survive. For years, I watched women around me, brilliant, capable, extraordinary women, wear their strength like battle gear, never flinching, never faltering, always on, always ready. These women, especially Black women, carried families, communities, and corporations on their shoulders without complaint. They were praised for their resilience, their ability to handle it all. But behind closed doors, I saw the toll this constant performance was taking. But what happens when the armor gets too heavy? When the weight of always being strong crushes the very spirit it's meant to protect? Recently, I had the profound privilege of interviewing Latasha Straughter, a visionary who's redefining what strength looks like for Black women in professional spaces. Latasha isn't just changing conversations, she's transforming lives through her revolutionary approach to leadership, vulnerability, and community building. Her work has touched thousands of women who found themselves trapped in cycles of performative strength, helping them rediscover the power that lies in their authentic selves. What she shared wasn't just transformative, it was revolutionary. The strongest thing you'll ever do, Latasha told me, with the quiet confidence of someone who has walked through fire and emerged not hardened, but more gloriously human, is show up as your full, unarmored self in spaces that taught you to hide. That stopped me cold. Because how many of us have been taught that vulnerability is weakness, that softness is something to overcome, that our emotions make us less effective, less professional, less worthy? Too many, far too many. The data is staggering. Studies show that 67% of Black women professionals report feeling pressure to alter their authentic selves at work. They describe putting on what researchers call the professional mask, a performance of strength that slowly hollows them from the inside out. And it's not just at work, it's at church, in community organizations, even within families where being strong is the unspoken expectation. But what if we've been getting it all wrong? What if true power isn't about how much weight you can carry without breaking, but about having the courage to put the weight down? What if the very softness we've been taught to hide is actually our greatest source of influence and impact? This is the radical truth at the heart of what I learned from Latasha. Vulnerability isn't weakness, it's the ultimate strategic advantage. Take Ann's story, a high performing executive in corporate America. Anne spent years perfecting what she called her workplace armor. She never showed fatigue, never admitted uncertainty, never revealed the toll that daily microaggressions were taking on her mental health. I thought being unbreakable made me valuable, she told Latasha in a powerful conversation, until I broke. The breaking point came after 3 consecutive quarters of record performance and 3 consecutive nights of crying herself to sleep. Something had to give. And in that moment of crisis, Anne made a decision that would transform not just her career, but her entire company. She decided to come to work soft, not unprofessional, not unprepared, just human. In her next team meeting, Anne did something radical. She acknowledged her struggles. She spoke openly about the mental health challenges she'd been facing. She advocated for wellness resources that would support not just her, but everyone on her team. The response was immediate and unexpected. Colleagues who had seemed distant suddenly opened up. Team members who had been silently struggling found their voices. What Anne had viewed as her greatest vulnerability became her most powerful leadership tool. Within 6 months, Anne had launched an employee resource group focused specifically on wellness for Black women. Company wide policies changed as a result of their advocacy. In Anne, she found herself leading more effectively than ever before, not despite her softness, but because of it. This isn't an isolated story, it's part of a powerful pattern that emerged across all of Latasha's research. Walanza Hall, another leader Latasha interviewed, transformed her entire approach after noticing alarming turnover rates among her staff. The company culture celebrated toughness above all else. Never show weakness was practically the unofficial motto. But Walanza had a revelation. What if that very motto was the weakness? She implemented something revolutionary in her department: open forums where staff could share their challenges without fear of judgment or repercussion. She instituted mental health days. She modeled vulnerability by speaking honestly about her own experiences as one of few Black women leaders in the organization. The results? Staff retention improved dramatically. Productivity increased alongside reported job satisfaction. And perhaps most tellingly, other departments began replicating these practices after seeing the measurable results in both morale and innovation. When I stopped pretending to be invulnerable, Walanza told Latasha, I actually became a stronger leader because now my team trusts me with their truth. But what about those who don't have the privilege of supportive workplaces? What about entrepreneurs, freelancers, or those navigating hostile environments? This is where Latasha's third insight becomes crucial. We must build our villages intentionally. Idiasia Turner understood this deeply. After years of struggling to find mentorship and support as a Black entrepreneur, she founded an online platform specifically designed for professionals seeking non judgmental peer support during career transitions or entrepreneurship journeys. The platform offered something precious: a space where users could share deeply personal stories about overcoming adversity, from breaking poverty cycles through entrepreneurship to navigating single parenthood while building businesses without fear of judgment or shame. Many of us didn't grow up with built in support systems, Itiashia explained to Latasha. So we have to create them deliberately, intentionally, with clear boundaries about what kind of energy is allowed in our spaces. Within 2 years, her platform reached over 10,000 active users. Hundreds credited this digital village with helping them launch businesses or secure promotions they once thought impossible, simply because they finally felt seen rather than shamed. This is the power of intentional community. When we create spaces where vulnerability is not just accepted but valued, we unlock collective wisdom and strength that isolation could never produce. As Latasha so eloquently put it, your village doesn't have to be physical, it doesn't have to be family, it just has to be real. These stories illuminate three transformative truths that can revolutionize how we approach both our professional and personal lives. First, vulnerability is not a weakness to overcome. It's a strategic advantage that builds trust, fosters innovation, and creates spaces where others feel empowered to bring their full selves. Second, community heals isolation. By intentionally creating space free from judgment, racism, or shaming, we offer each other the support many of us never had growing up. These digital villages foster belonging and resilience for those who may not have traditional support systems. And third, prioritizing mental well being isn't just self care, it's essential for sustainable success. When we nurture our mental health within supportive communities, we're better equipped to innovate, lead with empathy, and achieve our goals without burning out. But here's where theory meets practice. Here's where inspiration meets action. What does embracing your soft girl era actually look like in daily life? It might mean setting a boundary with a colleague who consistently interrupts you in meetings. It might mean creating a small group chat with trusted peers where you can share honestly about your challenges. It might mean scheduling therapy during your lunch break and not apologizing for it. It might mean saying, I don't know, when you don't know, instead of pretending expertise you don't have. It might mean taking a mental health day without making up an excuse about a stomach bug. These acts may seem small, they're not. They're revolutionary. Because every time you choose authenticity over armor, you create permission for someone else to do the same. Every time you prioritize your well being, you model what healthy ambition looks like. Every time you speak your truth, you make space for someone else's. This is how cultures change. Not all at once, but person by person, choice by choice, day by day. As Latasha reminded me, softness isn't about being passive, it's about being permeable, allowing yourself to be touched by life instead of constantly defending against it. I want to be clear, this isn't about abandoning ambition or lowering standards. It's about redefining what strength looks like. It's about recognizing that vulnerability and power aren't opposites, they're partners. The strongest leaders I've ever known aren't those who never show weakness. They're those who transform their wounds into wisdom, their struggles into strategies, their pain into purpose. They're the ones who understand that true resilience isn't about never breaking, it's about how you gather the pieces afterward, and whether you try to hide the cracks or whether you fill them with gold, making them the most beautiful part of who you are. So today I challenge you, step into your own soft revolution. Dismantle the armor that no longer serves you. Build your village with intention and care. Share your struggles not as failures, but as invitations for authentic connection. Because a world filled with people brave enough to be soft is a world where true strength can finally flourish. A world where we don't have to choose between power and authenticity. A world where we can lead from wholeness rather than from wounds. This isn't just about personal transformation, it's about cultural revolution. It's about creating workplaces, communities, and relationships where humanity isn't a liability, but our greatest asset. The time for performing strength is over. The era of authentic power has begun. Will you be brave enough to put down your armor and show the world who you really are?